The holidays offer a lot of time to gather around and enjoy those sweets and treats. And when there is food involved, unsolicited comments about people's weight or treat choices often follow. And while you can't control whether someone makes an inappropriate comment about your body, about your weight, my next guest says you can prepare yourself to handle those unsolicited remarks with confidence and with ease. Studio 5 Health Contributor Miki Eberhardt is here to tell us how. It's great to see you.
Thank you. Good to be here.
I have to say, a great topic for you in that you are such a gracious, lovely person at the core, and you're able to talk around these in a way that isn't awkward, because it can be.
Yes, it can be awkward, and really my goal is to prevent it from ever happening in the first place.
Yes.
So I want to kind of lay two ground rules that everybody can send this part to everybody they're going to be dining with this holiday, and hopefully will prevent the following from even needing to happen.
There's the best passive-aggressive move that could happen this season. Watch the Studio 5 interview.
Before we get to eat, I have a few things.
Okay, what are the ground rules?
Okay, number one, don't talk about other people's bodies.
Okay.
Period.
Yep.
You look so great, you've lost weight, you haven't, oh, what's going on? You've got muscles, like whatever. Don't make a comment. Why? We don't know. Are we commenting and complimenting someone's eating disorder, their grief, their anxiety, their depression?
Their illness.
Their illness, right?
Yeah.
So many things. Also, oh, but Miki, I know that they've been working so hard on trying to lose weight. Isn't that okay? What this shows is that my care for you is based on how you look. And I know that's not what we need. Mm-hmm. But what happens when that person gains weight back? Mm-hmm. So it's just best to avoid.
Or maybe you're hitting that person. Yes, they have been working hard, but maybe it's been a rough week. Maybe they haven't been at the gym for the last 5 days, or whatever works for their life or schedule. And then they're suddenly fixated on the idea that she sees me at this.
She's noticing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just important. Don't talk about it.
Good rule. What's number 2?
Second rule of thumb is let people be in charge of themselves with what they're choosing to eat, how much they're choosing to eat, what they're choosing not to eat. Let them just do it, you know? My dear grandma would circle the table with her potato thing, like, more potatoes for you, you know? You're like, oh, I can't eat anymore. So just let people be in charge of themselves.
I've caught myself in this situation, too, and I don't mean to mention him without permission, but my new brother-in-law, I remember, well-intended, coming into the family, and I'm trying to make him feel comfortable, make sure he has food, and finally my sister's like, he's good. You know what I mean? It's the grandma heaping potatoes on the plate that means well and just wants everyone to feel full and fed.
Yes, right. Well, because as a host, you don't want people to feel like they can't take more.
Right, right.
So I get your point.
Yeah, but we're going to avoid that.
Let people just do
for
themselves.
There's the holiday food faux pas that all of us are going to avoid, and we're going to send this conversation and let Miki be the voice to all of the people that need to hear it. How do you respond if those comments, if they aren't wise enough to watch and listen to your wise words? Okay. How do you respond?
This is what we're going to talk about. Okay, so the first one is, this is a good thing to say if people are trying to get you to eat more and you don't want to eat more and you're satisfied. You say, thank you for offering. It looks great, but I'm satisfied and I don't need any more. The other thing that we do here is if you have Grandma Carlson that insists, right? And in this situation, anytime you're being offered something and you really don't want it, there's kind of 3 pathways. You can be passive about it, like, all right, give it to me, Grandma.
Yeah, one more scoop of potatoes.
I don't want to eat it, but fine. We can be aggressive, which is like, no, I'm not having sugar, no pie for me. And everyone's like, oh, I hope you have joy in your life somewhere. But you want to be assertive, like, I'm in charge of myself. I can decide what I'm going to do here. And so if Grandma's like, no, have another piece of pie, that's where you just say, Grandma, this would make me so uncomfortable if I have another bite, but I have loved it. Could I take it home?
There you go.
Could I get the recipe?
Yes, yes.
I love it. I love you. Don't make me eat something I don't want to eat.
Gratitude, you've shown appreciation, but you have been appropriately assertive in saying
how you want.
What about the body talk?
Okay, the body talk. Oh, please no on the body talk, right? So this one, if this happens and it's specifically directed towards you and your body or you and your food choices, then you say, when you talk about food, when you're talking about my body and food, it really makes me feel uncomfortable. Could we talk about something else? That is a very vulnerable thing to say.
That is vulnerable.
Now, if you're in a position that's like random Uncle George, you see once a year and he says something weird, then you can just say, hey, you know what? I prefer not to talk about bodies. Yeah, move on.
Kind of blow it off.
If this is a consistent thing, that this is someone you care about and they're consistently saying things, I would recommend being candid, because when people know how you feel, if they know it makes you feel uncomfortable, they may not know that until you tell them. Most people are not going to perpetuate someone's discomfort once they know. And so depending on the situation, it may be wise to nip it in the bud.
There's your graciousness and just your good human skills at work. Like, we can all blow it off, and we can all move past Uncle So-and-so who I see once a year. But the continual comments is where you might need to get a little more formal.
Yes.
A little vulnerable and uncomfortable yourself in saying those words.
And it will solve the problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Okay, let's talk about responding to a few other scenarios. You say when it comes to health and well-being, you can even loop in your doctor as part of your response.
Yeah, so, you know, if somebody brings that up as part of, like, thank you for your concern, but I'm actually working with a doctor, you know, and it can be something like, oh, I'm just worried about you, and I just really care about you. I really appreciate it. I have a great dietitian. You know, that it's like, this isn't something I want to discuss with this person. Just kind of set that nice boundary, and I got it taken care of. Thank you.
If you've been listening to Miki and watching Miki this season, you know that there's a good definition of health that you put forward for us. You could throw that on the table.
Yeah, this can be an opportunity. Again, if the situation presents itself, it could be a time that you share some things that you have learned, right? That if somebody's saying something about size or weight or something, that you can then put in like, oh, health looks different for everyone. For me, health is fill in the blank. And it could be, you know, I've learned this year that health is less about the number on the scale and more about me really focusing on the foods and movement that feel good to my body. And it can kind of be like, oh, well, there's something to think about, you know? And even if you don't want to make it personal about you, then you can just say, oh, you know, I've learned health is such a complicated thing and it's different for different people in different scenarios. And just kind of let it be rather than having it circle back to a diet culture type mentality.
If the latest fad diet comes up, the latest MLM promising to slim you out and take the LBs down, what do we say in that situation?
Good for you, not for me.
Good for you, not for me.
Amy Poehler in her book, I love this. She's like, women need to have this mantra on like repeat, which is like, good for her, not for me. And I think this is a great way. It's a neutral way to let somebody know, like, that's great, that works for you, but something that works for one person doesn't necessarily work for everybody. Especially when those like, what are you going to do for New Year's kind of starts to come up, and there's these newfangled ideas. Oh, good for you. I'm going to stick with what works for me.
Yeah. Easy does it. No malicious intent typically behind these comments, usually out of care and concern, though slightly misguided. Miki's helping us bring it back to center ground. Where can we get more health advice from you, Miss Miki?
I'm on Instagram at Nutrition by Miki.
Thank you so much.